Hey guys, I'm back with another video. For this one, I'm going to be doing a first impressions on these zebra Mildliners that I got on Amazon. I guess it's technically an unboxing too, but pretty much that just entails me taking it out of the envelope. But mainly it's going to be a first impressions and pin test. So I'm going to open these up. I don't know where my scissors are, so I'm just using my husband's little knife thing. Alright, so I bought a pack that came with 3 packs of 5. Sorry if that's super noisy. But it came with 15 highlighters, so these 3 different packs. I think there's one more pack of 5 that you have to get like special on eBay, or maybe you can buy it on JetPins, but I just decided to start with getting this 15 pack. I think it was a little under $13 to buy all of these, so I thought that was a pretty good deal considering they are each $1.99 a piece at Michael's. So let me show you the pins. I guess this is the pastel pack, but they are highlighters. They come in colors that are not super intense. I'm not a big fan of neon highlighters, so I thought I would give these a try because they are Mildliners, so they're supposed to be more mild. But it comes with a chiseled tip here on the end. I don't know how well you can see that, but it comes with a chiseled tip on one end and then a pointed bullet style tip on the other. So let me go ahead and take these all out of their package. I don't know if you can see super well or if there's a big glare from these plastic bits. But I'm going to take them all out, and then I'm going to do a pin test. For today's pin test, I'm writing it all in my Leuchtturm, however you say it, 1917 journal, which is just my bullet journal that I use typically. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the pin test. So this is the completed pin test. Across here on the left side of the 2 pages, I've got a single swatch of each of the Mildliners, all of my favorite pins covered with them as well, and across the bottom I've got a double swatch of each, just where I went over it twice to see if that would impact bleeding at all. So in this first column, I've got the Jelly Roll pin by Sakura, I don't know, it's Japanese and I don't know how to say that, but I was really impressed. There was no smudging with this pen, and I was thankful because this is one of my favorite everyday writers. Next, we have the Papermate Ink Joy pen. This is also one of my favorite everyday writers, not for bullet journaling, just for note taking and things of that sort, but unfortunately in every single thing here it smudged, even though I gave it quite a bit of time to dry. So I just don't think these 2 inks are compatible for whatever reason. I'm sure there's an explanation that I just don't know. But here at the bottom, I did a swatch of the Zebra Mildliner, over top of which I wrote with this, and that worked just fine. But since that's not a habit that I have, I'm probably just not going to use the combination of those 2 pens. Next, we have the Pilot G2 pen. This is a pretty common pen that I know a lot of people love and use, and I personally use a lot. Thankfully, there was no smudging all the way down that column with every color. Now we have the Sharpie pen. Again, I know a lot of people love this pen, and again, no smudging. Pigma Micron, I use the 04 size, no smudging. Tombow Mono Drawing Pen. This is one of my favorite pens, especially for bullet journaling. I use these pens in the 3 different sizes, 01, 03, and 05, super consistently, so I was really glad that there was no smudging with this pen either. Then I've got the Tombow Futunesco pen. I believe this is in the soft tip. I believe there was no smudging on that. Just for kicks, I tried the Tombow dual brush pen, even though I really don't foresee myself ever using a zebra Mildliner over the top of this, because this side, the one I wrote with, is too thick for most of what I'd be writing with to highlight. But just for kicks, like I said, I wanted to try it, and it smudged on every single one. I wasn't super hopeful that it wouldn't, but again, I just wanted to try. Then we've got the Marvy Le Plume 2 pen. I wrote with the tiny end here, and there was no smudging. It kind of looks like there is up here, but I believe that's just carryover from this swatch because it's black smudging. So, and I used a brown pen here. So those are the pens that I decided to test, and now let's look at the ghosting and bleeding. So like I said in the intro, I'm using a Leuchtturm, that's German. Again, don't speak German, so I don't know how to say that. But I'm using that journal, and there is quite a bit of ghosting in that just in general. So you can see ghosting here, but there's very, very minimal bleeding. I don't even know if you would be able to see it, but right here along the line where I did the single swatches, right at the end where I picked up my pen, there was ink that gathered there, and that bled a tiny bit on 1, 2, 3, 4 colors. So nothing significant, and like I said, it is barely noticeable, so that is not a big deal to me. And let's flip to the other side. Again, there is ghosting, but on this side I don't see any bleeding from the Zebra Mildliner, except for on this last color here and the second to last. So we've got the darkest color here on the bottom, this blue, and the brown. It looks like bled about the same amount. So very, very minimal bleeding. And again, just where my pen picked up and ink gathered. So that is the pen test. Let me give my final first impressions on this pack. I have had one of these before. I believe it was this one, the gray one. So I have used this before, and I did like it, and that's what inspired me to purchase the whole pack. But as far as the color selection goes, I love it. I love these colors. These are wonderful colors for highlighting and giving accents, especially my bullet journal. Again, I'm not a big fan of neon highlighters, so it looks like this top pack, this pastel pack, has a couple in there, so I probably won't use those quite as often, but I really do enjoy the color selection. Okay, so I want to wrap up my final first impressions on this pack. I have had one of these before. I think it's this color that I've used before, but I bought an individual one to see if I would like them before I committed to purchasing the whole pack. And in using it, one of my favorite things about it was the dual-ended aspect of the highlighter, because I would use this chisel tip to highlight certain things and the bullet tip to underline, and it allowed me to keep my notes looking really cohesive by using the same color, but it gave them further detail because I was able to differentiate between 2 types of things that I was accenting in my notes. So I really liked that. As far as this pack goes, with the 3 packs of 5, I love the colors. Seriously, like this whole chunk here from the gray down to this blue is just perfect. And these top colors, they're a little bit on the neon side, which again, those are not my favorite type of highlighters, but even though they are more neon, they're not your typical neon colors. So I think I will still get a lot of use out of those. And I think these will function incredibly well in my bullet journal, because having the bullet tip here on the end, I think will lend well to doodling and getting those details in there that I can't really get with my other highlighters because they're too thick. But overall, I really love these. They were a great purchase. Like I said, I think these were a little under $13 on Amazon. I'll link that below in the description. And I think that's a really good deal because at Michael's, individually these are $1.99 a piece. So I think that's a great deal, and I definitely recommend these based on my experience with this pen previously, as well as the entire pack here. So definitely something to check out if you haven't. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one.